Hello and welcome to Andy and Ian Talk Networking. I am Andy.
And I'm Ian.
Hello, Ian, and welcome back from your travels.
Thank you
Glad
very much, Andy. It's good to be back. I
glad to
hope you
have
had
you
fun
back. Kind of get
with
fed
the
up with
other
talking to all
guys.
these guest speakers that are just like, I want to talk about high level stuff. So let's talk about far more interesting
Oh,
things.
good. Good.
So
Let's do it.
this week I want to talk about, is Ethernet evolving too fast? And I know the answer is going to be no, because we all like fast speeds and feeds, and the faster it gets, the better it is for everybody who can get access to the network. But let's take it and look at it from the context of how do we manage, monitor, and observe what's going on within our network.
Wow. Well, I think even the original question is Ethernet evolving too fast. The point is that I think you and I both have been working in Ethernet for, well, it's certainly on my count, nearly 30 years, and I'm a big fan of Ethernet
Absolutely.
generally,
Yeah.
just as a technology, whether it be back in the 10
Ubiquitous.
meg hub. Yeah, you what no, but that's really important when
Yeah.
it comes to dealing in enterprise networks, right? The idea that Ethernet, generally speaking, you plug it in, it's generally going to work. You don't need a lot of kind of magic
No.
to bring it all together. But it has been getting a lot faster, and it's going to continue to kind of keep evolving, exactly as you said,
Yeah.
too fast, or it's going to really continue to kind of drive that. I mean, certainly. Anyway, yeah. I mean, we're pushing 400, 800, around the corner. 1.6 terabit will
Yeah.
be here soon to the industry. Lots of really exciting times, but the point is, it's using a standard which makes sense for the enterprise, and that is
Yeah,
a
and I
really
think it's
that's exciting
interesting.
change.
I mean, because when you look at, is if you think about the question, is it evolving too fast? Well, most
Yeah,
people are probably looking at it and say, well, I don't care, because they're connected to their desktop machine,
yeah,
in an office or at home or whatever it is. And they've got gigabit. Pretty much even our laptops and your smaller systems now are all coming connected with gigabit connect, and that's probably fine for most people today. But we're seeing, the internet speeds coming in are getting faster. And more importantly, though, I think, from my perspective, the data center, the AI clusters, these are the
yeah,
guys where that speed really matters. In your home,
yes,
gigabit is probably more than enough for 99% of people. Okay, yes, you could go to 2.5, maybe 5, maybe even 10 gig, but realistically, you're probably okay at any of those speeds. But as you go into that AI cluster, as you go into those data centers, and you
yeah,
need that sheer volume of traffic going between, thousands of clients and those servers, you need that evolution. And that's why I think,
yeah.
yeah, you're right. What you said, 400 gig today in the data center is it's everywhere. We're already seeing that stand and that movement towards 800 maybe in the next 12 to 18 months, but then 1.6 and beyond, kind of after that. So, the data center, I think, is really what's driving that. And if you look at the volumes of data centers that are being built at the moment, primarily because of the AI clusters, I think is probably a large portion of that. And we learned very quickly that one of the biggest problems that AI suffers with is that node to node communication. So I think that's kind of, that for me is really important.
Yeah, no, I think that's vitally important, the concept of the AI data center and all of uniqueness. But even for people listening to this who aren't doing AI data center build outs, I mean, as I
Yep.
say, there's a lot of them, but it's not all of them.
No,
Is actually
it's a
then
very few.
looking
Yeah.
at the tools, and
Yes.
actually people who are leveraging security tools or all kinds of different types of tools, is how fast are they going. So one of the benefits a packet broker brings you, right, whatever color the box is, right, whatever
Yep.
packet broker brings you, is the fact that I'm taking in packets and I'm distributing them out to a set of tools.
Yep.
And the point is, those tools are not evolving as fast as the Ethernet.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
haven't
Yeah.
seen a lot of tools running at 400 gig or other things
No.
today. I mean, maybe they're out there and someone can put a note in the comments to say,
Yeah.
hey, why haven't you looked at this or that? But generally speaking, they're not running at those rates.
Yeah.
And therefore, we, as a packet broker vendor, or any packet broker vendor, needs to make sure that this traffic is being distributed properly and safely and
Yeah.
reliably to that set of tools which are maybe not quite running as quickly. So that's a really fascinating problem. You know,
Yeah.
we're being driven and other vendors are being driven to go faster,
Yeah.
but the tool vendors are, they'll be coming, obviously,
Yeah.
but they're just going to take longer to appear.
And it's interesting because you talk about the packet broker. Okay, that may be the kind of front end, but you've got everything that goes behind that. Your packet
Yeah.
capture. I don't know anybody really building even a 400 gig packet capture solution commercially in large volume available
Yeah.
today. I mean, yes, they're coming. We're one of them, but
Mhm.
ultimately, where's the 800? Where's the 1.2 terabit packet capture? They're just the architecture just isn't there to allow that line rate. So you're into pre-filtering a lot of that data, dropping, getting rid of a lot of that data to be able to, or you've got to parallelize up and have multiple just to deal with one very, very fat pipe coming into the system. And
Yeah, yeah, and a
that's an
lot.
interesting, because you could do things like packet deduplication and a whole load of other techniques, and we're going to talk about those over time, and maybe different types of architectures on
Yeah.
disk drives. But that's kind of, to me, one of the other problems is this, as you say, that the observability tools are just not able to keep up at the moment.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I think to answer your original question, is it evolving too fast? No, because once
Yeah.
again, shiny faster is great, and as I say, we've been there and done that on a lot of these different speeds and feeds over time, and that's great. But I think that a question that anyone listening to this needs to ask is great. I can get the fastest packet brokers or fastest tool, whatever, but is there a roadmap forward
My tools.
from that vendor to help them really get to that next generation, whatever technology
Yeah.
that might be. And as I say, that's only going to get faster. It's only going to get, maybe complicated isn't the right word, but you're going to get a lot of nuance in
Mm-hmm.
terms of how you're going to deliver 800, 1.6 terabit. I'm just picking on those
Yeah.
to technologies, but whatever it is in the future, whether it be different wavelengths, all of the different techniques that the Ethernet standard writers are bringing together. So the bottom line is, how are you going to bring your tools forward, right? What's
Yeah.
the question for that? And basically, your customers, right? Whoever's listening to this, their customers are going to be driving them to go faster,
Yeah.
and that is a really vital problem for folks out there in the market.
Yeah, and also it needs evolution of the standards and the capabilities around that. So today we talk about nanosecond timestamping. When you start going to 800 or, as you say, 1.6, that's not going to be enough. In that nanosecond, X number of packets have flown through the network, so you're going to start losing synchronization about the sequence of things that happen. So you've got to increase your PTP and your PTS network time sources. You've got all these different kind of problems that you need to evolve to be able to monitor and manage that network much more reliably as the speed goes up.
Yeah, and I think that's probably that's almost a topic for a whole different day.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of these kinds of things. So it's
Yeah.
a very exciting time in Ethernet. Certainly, data center architectures are very exciting. There's a lot going to be happening in those areas, and as I say, for those who are on that front end, I'm sure that's a pretty crazy time in those design meetings.
Yeah.
But the spirit being is that, yeah, we've got a long ways to go on a very ubiquitous technology that is kind of continuing to kind of wash away a lot of these, maybe proprietary is the wrong word, but specialized standards
Yeah.
that are just kind of not reaching the end, but they're going to move into
They have to
their own
evolve.
little niche.
Yeah.
Yeah,
As the networks
exactly.
evolved, these support tools and capability need to evolve. But in a more standardized way. You can't just have everybody doing their own little thing in their own buckets, especially as ultimately it's going to come down to the analytics and that ability to view and process that data.
Absolutely right, Andy.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. And I look forward to that
To
next
these
standard. I
those
look
new
forward
standards and those new
to
discussions.
to the futures because it keeps people like us in work. So that's great.
Absolutely.
I love
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Great. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate the discussion as always. So just like to thank everybody for watching. And again, please invite everybody to like and subscribe in the comment section and link below. And yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you again next time. I have been Andy.
I've been Ian.
Thanks everybody for watching.